So I've created a PowerPoint presentation that kind of helps fill out the forms. So I wanted to go over that because what we do here at the state competition is not what they do at the national level. So we want to make sure that we're building you guys up, so if you want to move from this step to the next step, that you have the skills to do that. For our competition here, all the pieces are that are at the national level, but the part of it is our tiebreaker. So for the regular competition, we do the breed, and then we also do the showroom variety, which is different than the registration variety, and we'll go over that in this presentation. And then 4 class and 6 class, we use that as a tiebreaker as well for our state competition. But at the national level, you have to know all 4 parts. And the thing with all breed identification parts is if you get the breed wrong, everything after on your form is incorrect. So that's something to really keep track of. Know your breeds really well. The standard of perfection. All the breeds that are in breed ID are recognized by the American Rabbit Breeders Association, and you can find those pictures of those breeds in the standard of perfection. Something to be mindful of is every 4 years, the 5th year, a new edition comes out, because there can be presentations for new breeds that are being entered into the standard of perfection. So this is a living document that changes. You can get them at cage dealers. You can order them from American Rabbit Breeders Association. You can also go on arba.net and go through and look and find those different classifications for breeds as well. I know that David also has some stuff on Rabbit Tutor to help study for breed ID as well. So this is what the form looks like at the national level. If you had a tiebreaker today, you got to see all 4 of these sections. But if you didn't have a tiebreaker, you only seen half of the form. You have the breed, the showroom variety, 4 class, 6 class, and the registration variety. We'll go over the difference between showroom variety and registration variety as we get into the presentation. Okay, so props to some people who gave me some photos. So here, the breed is Holland Lob. So you can see this is a Holland Lob because it is smaller. It is also your high head mount. So get away from that. So if you go through and look, it's arched up standing on the tippy toes of its front feet. It's got a shorter ear that lays along the jawline, and it's got a broader head. It's also going to be smaller in a cage comparative to the other lop breeds. So the next part is the showroom variety. It's also very important to pay attention to your standard on how they're written. We do a little bit of leniency here, but this is one area. All of your lops have pattern at the end. So they're either a solid pattern or they're a broken pattern for the showroom variety. And that's how they're shown on the tables. Okay? So when you're showing a Holland Lop, a Mini Lop, a French Lop, an English Lop, an American Fuzzy Lop, they're shown in broken and solid. So, but for the purpose of breed ID identification, you also need to remember to put pattern on the end. So this is really keeping yourself on top of exactly what's in the standard. It is a 4-class breed. The difference between 4-class and 6-class breeds, the ideal senior weight has to be under or over 9 pounds. So if that rabbit, the ideal senior weight is 4 pounds, or it's really tiny in the cage, it's going to be a 4-class rabbit. If it is a New Zealand, a California, and a Flemish Giant really big in the cage, it's going to be a 6-class rabbit. Something to note about 4-class and 6-class, I'm really big into the wool breeds. There's only one wool breed that is a 6-class. When you're looking at your wool breeds, you have to remember that wool makes it look bigger than it actually is. So keeping track of like looking at those standard weights and keeping track of how what that ideal senior weight is will tell you whether it's a 4-class or a 6-class rabbit. The other way too is if you go up to a table and you show the rabbit as like a New Zealand, they'll have an intermediate class. That tells you that it's a 6-class rabbit, and that's because there is a senior buck, senior doe, intermediate buck, intermediate doe, junior buck, junior doe. Your 4-class rabbits only have senior buck, senior doe, junior buck, junior doe. Okay? Your variety is what they register as. So if you bring a rabbit to myself as a register, I'm going to go look at the pedigree and determine what variety that rabbit is. Don't do it to me. So this here is a broken pattern, but if you look at the pedigree, it's broken black. Okay? You have to be really careful with that in a couple of different areas as well, because so it might be broken silver martin for a different breed, but then you have to know whether it's a black silver martin, a blue silver martin, a chocolate silver martin, or a lilac silver martin. Yeah, okay, so keeping track of knowing that your varieties. Okay, so you'll notice, again, it's listed twice. You've got showroom variety and registration variety. You have to pay very, very close to your breeds, because your showroom variety is your registration variety. But in others, your showroom variety is whatever is shown on the table. So for an example, I've got Jersey Woolly here. They are shown in groups. They are shown in agouti, self, any other varieties, a few other ones broken. I can't remember all of them. So that's where the showroom would be, but then it's a chestnut. So you have to be very careful and pay attention. And I can't remember at the national level if it's showroom variety first or registration variety, but just pay close attention to the top parts of their showroom versus registration. I just did this already. Oh, yes. All cavies are 6-class. All cavies are 6-class. They're tiny, but they have that intermediate class in every single breed because of the way they're broken down. It's 12 ounces, up to 12 ounces is juniors, 13 ounces to 22 is intermediates, anything 23 and over is your senior class. So whenever you get to that list, if you have a cavy, 1 point already, I got 6-class, man. Just put them down, 6-class. And then you don't have to worry about, and then that might be the point that gets you rolling, that like, okay, I got something right because I know a cavy is a 6-class, took the pressure off, I knew something, I can keep moving forward and not get past that mental block. If it only has one variety, it is standard, okay? So here's a list of a few of the standards. That is an Argent Brune, Argente. Someone will tell me later that I was wrong, one or the other, it's fine. So when you have like a Californian, the showroom variety is standard. It is only shown in one color. The class is 6-class. The registration variety, again, is standard because they are only shown in one color. Cream d'Argent, Champagne d'Argent, Florida White, Standard Chin, Trianta, all of your chinchillas. I know there's like a bunch in the standard. Any of them that have just one variety, if you write down standard, so again, if you go through and be like, I got some Californians, I know it's a 6-class, and come back to it. They'll let you move around. It's okay. You don't have to stop and be like, okay, I'm going to be the first one, and I've got to move through them identically. You can move around and come back to, just like you would on a test. Okay, so that's filling out the form. Now we're going to kind of get into, so we did breed ID here today. We had 20 animals, and we have all but one of those animals here. So we're going to kind of go through and kind of discuss what was in breed ID and how you would fill out that form. We're going to start with Angoras, because we did have quite a few of the Angoras here. You want a chair? They're like, we're free. So if you look at the French Angora and the satin Angora, they have clean faces, okay? All of these are 4 class. Their ideal senior weight is under 9 pounds, okay? The satin Angora, the French Angora, nice clean face. Their ears are also clean. Okay?
Now entering the ring, our last class,
trying to hold the microphone.
class 216.
The English Angora has bangs, cheek furnishings, ear tassels, and when they're in coat, they're going to be really full in coat. But they're actually the smallest of the Angora breeds, okay? The tricky part with Angoras as well is how do you tell the variety, okay? You're going to look at their face. So if you go in and look at the face, this color is not going to match what is on the growth of the coat. That's a cheating one. It's a white one. Here, the color of the face is very different than the coat. A lot of kids and adults will get caught up in looking at these animals and being like, okay, so I don't know what color it is, or it's a tan rabbit, right? Because the coat is tan. When you look at the face, though, it's fawn. When you look at the face, it's a blue tort. The part also knowing about Angoras is they show in colored and white, okay? It gets really tricky because the pointed white is considered a white, okay? So all Angoras, white, are pointed white, blue-eyed white, ruby-eyed white. Everything else, including brokens, are colored, okay? So that kind of helps break it down. The giant Angora is going to be a much bigger animal. It's going to have less ear tasseling and less facial furnishings. He can go back. She can go back. Oh, real quick, actually, hold on. Also looking at the satin Angora, when you look and catch the light, you're going to see it kind of reflects that light. Okay? So the giant Angora is going to have all of this, but with less. And they're going to be a much bigger, and they are the only 6-class Angora breed. Can I get the jersey and the fuzzy? Can I get the jersey and the fuzzy? Sorry, baby girl. Not nice. Be deaf. So why this one is a little bit larger of a Jersey Woolly, you're going to see them kind of pop up. They have shorter ears and a more stocky face. So that's going to be your Jersey Woolly comparative to the Angoras. It's a much smaller animal. The American Fuzzy Lap is the only lap breed with that longer coat. They have those shorter ears, nice tight face. And the thing to remember too about these breeds is when you're looking at the face, that's going to be your color. So this is going to be a solid pattern, and then the registration variety will be ruby-eyed white. Okay? So it kind of gives you a little bit of a different view, and keeping track of your wool breeds and keeping track of, and they're almost every year they ask for Angoras in the national competitions, because getting that tricky part with understanding the facial color. They can go back. she'll be fine for a second. It's okay. Thank you so much, Melissa. This one here is one of the only body profiles that's the upright cylindrical. It's also the only only breed that is not a lop, I believe, that is this color. And they have a very distinct coat, and they have a very distinct head. This is the Czech Frosty. So it's going to be Czech Frosty, standard, 4-class, standard. Just grab me one. We're very fortunate in our state that we have quite a few people who breed some heritage breeds. This one always trips up every year. We bring a silver. There are not many. I think there's 142 breeders in the nation, so there's not many. They are also one of the only, actually they are the only breed that has brown still as a variety. Okay? Brown is actually chestnut. This is fawn. Totally enjoying life. What is that? So this is going to be a fawn silver, and if you look, it's going to have that white ticking throughout, but it's smaller than a silver fox. Okay? So when you look at, like when you're doing breed IDs at your county fairs, or if you're doing them here, anywhere that's not cooped, that's actually a good choice. Anywhere that's not cooped, you can look at the size of the carrier that it's in. If it's in a small carrier, it's a 4-class breed, right? Hopefully. Or if it fills the carrier, it might be a 6-class breed. But just taking account of those little pieces there, and kind of knowing where those weight divisions are. So this over here is an argent brune, and it also has the silver ticking. But if you look at the size differences, although this one's a little bit, she's eating well. But if you look at the size difference, also the head, you're going to see there's much more bulk to this head, indicating a 6-class breed. And they have more of a narrow head. They both have the ticking, but also if you look at the coats, like if you look, this is a much shorter coat, and it's much more, and it only comes in fawn. The argent brunes only come in this chocolate color. So keeping track of your breeds, again, knowing what you've got on the table will help you determine what's in that carrier. If it's cooped, it's helpful as well, because you can go through and be like, okay, I remember the Netherland dwarf, right? Might be comparative to a Polish. We've got 2 small breeds, and then going through and looking at the heads and the ears and how their bodies are shaped. Yeah, the other part too is if you're, so the silver fox is very similar to this, and they have a chocolate. It's going to be a deeper, richer chocolate color, but you can also see it has a much more dense coat, and it will stay upright if you kind of blow on it, or if you like are looking and it's laying down and parts of it are still laying up. That's going to be your silver fox. Yeah.
Do you need any silver foxes for comparison?
Sure. I won't say no to that because I've referenced it a couple of times now. These 2 can go back. Actually, leave this one on. Okay. Let's do. Yeah, the satin and the New Zealand would be good. Someone has graciously volunteered a silver fox, so.
I have another one that's a bit over silver.
I'm just going to show the type. So if you look at the coat structure, it's real dense, and it just kind of stands up on its own. So that's going to be your silver fox, remembering they come in different colors. So keeping track of that coat, and also their faces are very similar, but the silver fox I've noticed across the board has a little bit blockier of a face. Go ahead and play him back, honey, okay? No. That. Okay, again, 2 6-class breeds, very similar. You also have to, easy. Also have to keep track of, they also have Beverin and Americans that are also white and 6-class breeds. Keeping track of your body types, the Beverin and the American are going to be longer in the cage and they're going to have a longer shoulder. So this is a New Zealand and this is a satin. And again, you're going to have to get down and you're going to have to look at those coats. This is a much rougher, more textured coat. It doesn't have, it's really, really white. Where if you look at the satin, easy. It's a much softer coat. It also has like an ivory cast to it if it's white. We'll take those before we lose something. Got it? So again, sometimes you gotta bend down, look in that cage. You've got to look at what kind of texture and what kind of coat is on that rabbit before you determine what you're putting on that your score sheet. It's New Zealand. I'll take a Himalayan. I'll take the Himalayan. Oh, you're not, Melissa. That was Melissa. Thank you. This also tricks a lot of people. And again, if you look at the size of the carrier, a Himalayan looks very similar to a Californian when it bunches itself up. And a carrier, because that small carrier gives the illusion that it's bigger than it actually is. So look at the carrier size, look at what size it is in the cage, because when you're doing breed ID, they're not going to stretch it out and have it like this for you. So you've got to take into account that while it stretches out on the show table, when it's in a cage or a carrier, it's going to bunch itself up. And it's going to look like a really rangy Californian. Okay?
Okay, if you have first or second in crossbred gilts, if you are first or second in class, crossbred gilts, bring your picks to the ring now.
The other part that's hard with the Himalayan,
in class, crossbred gilts, bring your picks to the ring now.
The other part that's hard with the Himalayan is the points.
Congratulations to winners in class 216. First place, Chloe Elsinger. Second place, Chloe Elsinger. Third.
So the points are going to come in 4 different colors, where if it's a Californian, it's always 99.9% of the time it's going to have black points. Okay? Where if it's a Himalayan, if you look at the ears and you're like, oh, that's not quite black, you know it's a Himalayan. Okay? But again, just remembering that we're in that cage, they're not going to stretch out naturally like this for you to be like, oh, that's a Himalayan. Okay? Really keeping track of how that rabbit looks inside the coop or the carrier. How about your English lab? And then we can kind of wrap it. Oh no, I need a running breed. Yeah, I already did the Frosty. Again, thank you, Natalie and Melissa, for helping me. Know your breed characteristics. I had quite a few people today put this down as a Flemish Giant. It is the correct body type, it is the correct color, but a Flemish Giant's ears are going to stand up, okay? English Lops will have that bell type ear that lays down. French Lop is going to be massive with those ears laying down. Mini Lops are those in between, not quite Holland. It's also going to have a shorter body type.
First and second place, crossbred gilts. If you have a first or second place in class, crossbred gilts, bring your picks to the ring now.
The English Lop 2 is the only Lop breed that is a semi-arch breed. So it's going to have that long shoulder. Okay? I don't know if you guys, can you see it over there? Real long shoulder. The rise starts here, goes up. Okay? So keeping track of that. So what color is this going to be? for showroom variety. Solid pattern. Okay. 4 class or 6 class? Is it a 4 class or a 6 class? 6 class. Okay. Do you know what color it is? Registration variety? It's going to be a fawn, right? Fawn? Okay, fawn. And also knowing too that while some breeds will have this as one color, another breed might call it something else. I know there was like some rumors of like trying to consolidate that. We won't know until the new standard comes out next year. So there was some confusion about this guy too. This is a checkered giant. He's like, I'm so excited I get to be out. They're a full arch breed. I had a couple of people who put like checkered spots. In the past I've had people put dwarf papillon because a dwarf papillon is a much smaller version of this. You're okay, buddy. Most of the checkers are not super friendly, so if you see them running on a table, don't go up to them and just reach up to pet them.
Bring your pigs to the ring now.
So the checkers only come in 2 colors, black and blue. They are another heritage breed, and they are a full arch breed, and they are meant to run. But when they're in a cage or a coop, a lot of times they'll just stretch out. So you got to look and see how big is that breed in the carrier. If you notice, he's got an 18 by 24 carrier. So he's got a carrier cage that my Netherland dwarf would live in. So keeping track of those sizes. You're okay. It's okay, Adelie. I don't need her. It's okay. So this is also a full arch breed. You can see it's much smaller. Okay. This is a tan. And a lot of these breeds that are in carriers for breed ID or coops for breed ID, you can almost always tell the tan because they are seriously ADHD. They can't handle it. You know, you'll be driving to a show and you'll have 6 tans in the back. They're the same way when they get to someplace. They don't hold still. So you'll be able to tell that tan because they're going to move around the cage for you. And the tans are what they are because they have that almost like a Doberman look to them. And they're just super curious and super active. Don't need that. So again, knowing your breeds, knowing their personalities, talking to the other 4-H kids, talking to other open breeders, and seeing what they have to say about their breeds at the shows is going to be really beneficial for you. He can go back. I don't want him to jump on you. Dwarf. I'm not going to. Yeah. So we've only got 2 more that we had in the breed ID competition.
Congratulations, you picked Hafner, champion crossbred deal, and reserve is Aaron Ernst.
So this
The Brandon Reserve breeds, Brandon Reserve, the breeds and the gilts to the ring now.
So this one's a Netherland dwarf, and you're going to be able to tell the difference between him and a Polish by the face. The Polish has a little bit longer head. They have a much bolder eye that isn't encompassed in that skull structure, and the ears tend to be a little bit shorter. If they are like show quality, not brood quality. He's had a lot of food, so he's a little bit chunky. But they also will sit more structurally upright in that carrier. You'll be able to see them hold themselves up a little bit. He's like, "Why are you touching me? This is not what I signed up for." And knowing also that while there are groups for Netherland dwarfs, they still show their Stroman variety is still the color that they are. So this would show. So like they show in self and then they break it down, and then they show in agouti and then they break it down, and then they show in tan pattern and then they break it down, and then they show shadeds and break it down, and any other variety and break it down. So for him, he's going to be a chinchilla. And then for his registration variety, you have to look at the ticking. He is a black chinchilla. So the ends of those hair are black. So keeping track of those things too, when you're looking at, for example, the satin Angora was a pointed white. They come in black, blue, chocolate, and lilac. So when you're doing showroom variety, you have to write down black pointed white, lilac pointed white. Okay? So keeping close track of all of your colors and keeping close track of everything that goes along with that. Last breed that was in breed ID, I love this breed. It's a Trianta. They correct me all the time. I've had many years of training, and it is Trianta. Lori would be so happy when she sees this. She'll know that I said it correctly. I should get chocolate. Where's my chocolate? They are, when you're looking at their face, because I had some people write down that this was a New Zealand, okay? Red New Zealand. They have a lot of the same characteristics and color. They're a little bit blockier. They have a much broader face. They're much smaller, but they do have that real deep red color when they're not molting. And they are only one variety in the breed, so it is a standard breed. So it's going to be Trianta, standard, 4-class, standard. Okay? There was a Red New Zealand in the breed ID competition as well. It was a bigger animal. So when you're going through and looking, say I've got 2 red animals, which one is bigger? That's probably the New Zealand. If I'm looking at satin versus New Zealand, which one has sheen? So keeping track of all those tiny little breed intricacies will help you do really well on breed ID. Anybody have any questions? None? It was a lot of information. I'm sorry. David, I'm sure we'll post that later, right? Okay. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to kind of move stuff around and put stuff back. I'll be milling around, and if you guys have any questions and you don't want to ask them here, I am available for questions later. Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's David with Rabbit Show. Have you learned something in this video so far? Hit that like button so that you continue to see our newest videos.